So times are crazy, as we all know. Today is the 31st of March and officially recorded 583,728 active cases on COVID-19. It's a time that asks the best of us, even during very hard times. And I think the whole reason we wanted to do this call is to kind of open up for the discussion of how everybody can try and contribute to fight this crisis. I'm sitting here having a great opportunity to talk with you, Rico Ngoma, CEO of SourceFind Asia, a great sourcing company that I've been introduced to through my business in the Philippines. You're an individual who perhaps in my network is the best person to ask when it comes to finding difficult items in China.
Sort of like Indiana Jones for sourcing.
Yeah. If you can't find it, it doesn't exist, right? That's the statement. I'm also here on the call with Sasha Bastian, who is my business partner. We've set up a small task force here we call North Sea Sourcing in an effort to try and see if we can accommodate some of this global demand for PPE. But the reason I just wanted to talk to you, Rico, and discuss with you is because as we engage this crisis and as we try to help, we don't want to try and offer the wrong kind of help or the unethical kind of help. And we've been discussing, me and you, about some of these dilemmas that occur when you try to help out in a crisis.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the first thing is that I didn't actually actively pursue this business, if you want to call it that, in terms of the sourcing for. Actually, it's become its own industry. To be honest, it's now a multi-billion-dollar industry, the COVID-19 medical supply chain. But I didn't actively pursue it. We got our first inquiry it was about 2 weeks ago on a Friday from a potential European buyer in Switzerland. And, I was running along. We have our own active projects in SourceFind Asia. And, we looked into KN95 and N95 masks that time. And then on Saturday, I was here in the Philippines with my roommate playing cards, Tong Its. I'm not sure if you played that game before, but it's sort of like Filipino poker in that sense. But we were just like normal Saturday night, and I get a phone call from my business partner. He's like, "It's urgent. I need to hop on a call right now." And I was like, "Oh, it's unusual. He never really calls me on the weekends like that." So I picked up the phone and he said, "Hey, we just I connected with a broker for medical supplies in the US, and they're talking to government entities and they're talking to hospitals, and we're talking about millions of units now." Okay. He's like, "Yeah, we need to put something together in the next couple of days." So we started.
And this is not even your area of expertise, right?
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I'll probably say now at this stage, probably 70% of the people that are importing these products are not experts in medical supplies.
Mm. What is it that you normally source for?
We do a wide range. So I guess we consider ourselves to be a consulting company when it comes to manufacturing in China. So the speciality that we have is around identifying high quality suppliers. So we've sourced anything between electronics to PVC toys to makeup, clothing, plastic bottles, LED candles. So we source a wide range of products, but we've developed a very good process of vetting suppliers. And that can be applied to any product, right? It doesn't have to be just one type. On top of that, my business partner, Mike, first went to China and started sourcing around 2008, and I went to China in 2014. So between the two of us, we have a little bit over 17 years of combined experience and network in China. So we can pretty much get high quality goods in whatever industry. If we don't know somebody directly, we're like one person removed from
I see. see. Yeah, that was my question. Like, how do you establish such a wide net? But I would imagine that your network almost constitutes your net worth in China. You got to know a guy and know the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with the term guangxi. It essentially means your network. Who do you know? Yeah, it is almost like money in the bank. If you have a solid guangxi, you're a really respected person in China and you can get things done. It's extremely important. And the only way to do that is really just to be in China, be on the ground, keep your promises. That's a big thing, is a lot of times foreigners will come to China and they make these huge promises to factories that we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then it doesn't materialize. And like with Chinese people, like if you break the trust, ironically, I think everybody lacks trust with China, but it's the same thing in China. Is if you break the trust, there is no going back. That relationship is ruined. So that's very important. Yeah.
So it's a careful engagement. So as you go into this new field of yours, you said Switzerland, but what are the countries that you experienced with a shortage of PPE and masks and so on and so forth?
I mean, we've spoken to so many countries at this stage, but I would say the US is huge, and Canada. The demand in the US is what really has applied so much pressure on us. We've spoken to France, Italy, I guess you guys have been Denmark and the UK. But yeah, the US has been, I mean, literally, we were on a call with a government official from the New York state government. And, they were saying they need to basically have 100 million units of various items. That's sort of, I mean, it's not all going to go to New York, but they're going to sort of spread it out to different, hospitals and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, when somebody says they need that and they need the information ASAP so they can talk to their superiors and all that, like that's what made us spend 20 hours a day working in tandem with the US. So my business partner, Mike, is currently in Chicago. So he will wake up at 6, 7 a.m. his side. That would be evening for me. We hop on a call. We discuss what's happened during the day. I will stay up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning so that I'm working with him throughout the day. My Zoom has been on almost 24 hours a day. So he just jumps in and out. And then vice versa. When I wake up at 7, he's still awake and we go back and forth. So that's kind of how it's been for the last 7, 8 days.
It's a marathon, it sounds like.
Haven't shaved and...
we also just stuck indoor, I guess.
Yeah, locked in as well. Yeah.
So it sounds to me that there's a increasing demand, and especially if trying to project this crisis out into the future, we haven't seen the curve flatten yet. And obviously for some people, this is great business. And I can't remember where I heard this. Maybe it was House of Cards or something, but there's this terrible statement that you never let a good crisis go to waste. What we've been experiencing in Denmark is some very critical questions to the thoughts of profiting off a crisis. So what is your considerations about the ethical dilemmas that arise when trading protection supplies that are in shortage all over the world and margins and so on and so forth?
How much time do you have? I've been contemplating this for the past 7, 8 days. I'll start with the first thing that I noticed when people started reaching out to me. Like, I'm part of these entrepreneurship networks in China, and I'm part of a bunch of WeChat groups with other manufacturing people, and we were sharing stories about these were actual people that we knew or somebody that knew somebody directly, where they transferred $1 million to a factory and the goods didn't come. They bought goods and were transporting the goods from their factory to the airport, and the goods were seized by police, which they then found out were not police. It was probably the trading company that they bought the goods from that basically stole the goods and then resold them. So I know from my own personal experience that all of these things are avoidable if you go through the right vetting process of suppliers. But there's panic buying happening right now, and you're getting, like we just mentioned, 70%, probably more, people jumping into this business and buying stuff from China who just don't know how it works. They don't know how the process is. They don't know the right documentation to have. They don't know what the sort of the mistakes that can happen, like how to identify potential red flags and things like this. Is stuff that you can only learn from doing it, right? So I saw that and I was like, wow, well, first of all, I have a podcast in the YouTube channel. First of all, I want to educate people. So I made videos already before we even started really getting any crazy inquiries. I made videos just educating people, hey, this is what you should be looking out for. If the factory says this, then you should do it. Like, so the second thing for me personally is that I was born in Zambia, Southern Africa. So while I grew up, my parents are pretty well off, and I moved to the States and Canada, I definitely know people that are less well off than I am, and I definitely have seen poverty. So my thought process was like, if I'm going to help with this getting the goods to the US and Europe, I'm also going to start contributing towards my original birthplace. Like I was actually thinking about sending free masks and things like that there. So maybe rolling in some of the money that we're making to help other people. So there's another side of it. It's like I think that obviously you profit from the situation, but you can also give back. And I want to give back directly, not through sort of organizations or government.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is, we always try to get exactly what people need. So that's another thing. Is like I feel like for us, if you're buying from us, we are going to do the best we can possibly do to get the exact product that you're looking for. And if we can't get it, then we're saying no. So for example, the N95s, we kept saying no for 4 or 5 days. And then finally we found one supplier of N95s, like one of the few hidden gems. It took us 6 days to find it. That's where I look at it from an ethical standpoint. Yeah.
Incredible. So it's funny, the last point here, you imagine that you can go and search for these in some kind of centralized portfolio, but obviously these factories, some of them are quite hidden. And
especially because these products they're not shoes, they're not iPhones. Like it's not a product that people use on a consumer basis, right? It's not. So there's not that many factories that are qualified to make those products, and there's not that many factories that make them because there was never really that need. They were medical professionals, right? But a lot of those factories are pretty hidden.
Yeah. So if you were to sum up, you had 3 points here. And I guess the question is, when sourcing agents are approached with the question of whether or not this business is now ethical, what would your 3 takeaways be for them?
One, approached by our clients and potential clients, buyers. And I noticed a lot of the fakery with factories providing fake certificates and people jumping into this and not knowing how to deal with China. So, I almost feel a sense of responsibility in that sense to educate people through my YouTube channel. That was the first thing that I did. And then, of course, we started to get bigger inquiries. So that's one. The second thing is, like I said, I was born in Zambia, in Southern Africa. So, I've seen poverty. And I'm very much connected to the idea that there's countries out there that are going to suffer greater than some of the European countries and the States. And if you're going to profit from something like this, you definitely have to give back. And that's what I want to do with the capital and money that we make. So the third part is one of our company ethos is transparency. And we always try to give clients exactly what they want. So I know that if somebody's buying medical supplies from us, we might not be a verified medical vendor that they're used to working with, but we're going to make sure, from the best of our ability, we're going to make sure that they get exactly what they want. And if we can't get what they want, we're going to tell them no. So that's sort of my 3 main takeaways from that.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Can you talk a bit more in terms of this transparency that you offer in the supply chain? Because that's also an insurance for the buyer or the client, right? And especially during these times, what is the process that you do in mitigating the shortage or the risk of purchases?
Of the purchases. So how do we verify the suppliers?
Yeah, mitigate risk.
It's going to be a very long explanation, but there are internal. The first thing we would do is reach out to a network in China. So I reach out to other factories that we worked with before, other sourcing agents that we worked with before. As long as we have the clear requirements from our clients, we should be able to find exactly, the certificates, the right product and things like that. From there, you can actually verify, and I'm sure anybody that's watching this that's a medical professional, you can actually verify these documents. Like online, you can go to the FDA website and search for the factory's name. Same thing with NIOSH. You can go to the NIOSH site. CE, you can contact TUV or SGS to confirm. those details. And then, usually we want to order samples and we want to pay a deposit and visit the factory. It's a very unique situation. A lot of factories are asking for 100% payment upfront. A lot of factories will say you can't come to a factory until you pay us a deposit. So that's the one risky part about this current situation. But we'll still try our absolute best in terms of the pre-vetting process and making sure that the documentation that they provide is legitimate.
I see. That's good. So it sounds to me that from start to beginning, you got a pretty good hold on how this new crisis, at least the supplier of PPE equipment, how it could be done. Yeah. Out of curiosity, in terms of vetting that the factories are operating under proper ethical conditions, are you also ensuring that child labor and work conditions are in order? Is that something that you take into consideration?
Oh, always. We've never worked with a factory that had child labor or any of that. And typically the factories that have these certifications shouldn't be able to qualify for those certifications if that was the situation. But that's part of our vetting process in the sense of when we visit a factory. So we always visit factories before we place a mass production order. The difference is in this particular situation, we'll have to do it in reverse. A lot of times we'll have to go to the factory after we pay a deposit. Yeah. So we'll do as much as possible before that to vet those factories. But yeah, we definitely take that into consideration. Like I said, we're also connecting with factories that are connected to our partners in China. So these are Chinese business people that we've worked with for 6, 7, 8+ years. They know how we operate. They know our morals around business and manufacturing. They also understand the requirements of the rest of the world. So
yeah. Fantastic. So perhaps if anyone is listening and now wants to get out and try and help their local community with setting up sourcing channels and so on and so forth, what would be a piece of advice you could offer them in order to work with you?
I think know exactly what you want before you approach us. We again, this being an unusual situation, we usually have a very long sort of customer evaluation process before we start with somebody. So they'll fill out something on our website. That will hop in a discovery call, and then we'll have them fill out another document that basically is extracting the information that we need. And if we do it like that on purpose, and it sounds tedious, but it's like if we don't do that, we usually find ourselves looking for a product that's very vague. And you have to remember that China, you can make everything, literally everything. So you have to be very specific about what you want before you contact us. If you are specific, and when I say that, it's specifications, product name, the materials, the actual certifications that you need. And then the second thing is in this particular situation, you have to move really quickly because there is no stock. If there's stock, it gets sold out immediately. 2, the factories, their production lead times are being pushed further and further every week. So not even every week, every day. We had 2-3 factories over the weekend tell us they're now booked till the end of April. For the medical gowns, specifically the AAMI level 2 isolation gowns, all of the factories we've spoken to in the last couple of days, which is about 20 to 30 factories, have said they're booked till the end of June. They're not taking new orders. If you don't move quickly, you're going to miss the boat.
Yeah.
Number 1, know what you want exactly. And then number 2, move quickly afterwards.
Perfect. So I want to work with you, know what you want, and move fast. That's a good point. Fantastic. Well, Rico, thanks. I know you overworked, and rest and sleep is a luxury these days. So thanks so much for your time. We'll make sure to try and spread the word. The community know that if they have a shortage, if they know what they want, and if they're ready to move, then there are validated, transparent, and ethically correct ways of sourcing products from China with you.
Sure. All right, man. I'm always happy to help and just provide more information, especially in this particular situation. I think that this information is extremely important to get out to the public. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Cheers.